Okay, I've had to do quite a bit of grinding just to reach this point, level 37. I took some screenshots here where, like, at level 34, I'm not sure how much experience I'd already gained, but I needed to get, like, another about 70,000 experience or so from whenever I took that screenshot to get up to level 35. And level 34, that's where I ended the game at in the first playthrough. But if I had gotten to level 35, you get a substantial HP increase. It goes up from the max 671 to 763. But ever since level 35, I've just been gaining 2 HP per level, and like 1 to each of the other stats. And the amount of experience needed has just been going up exponentially. I needed 101,000 at level 35. At level 36, I needed 136,000, and for this level, I needed to get 181,000. Almost 182,000, actually. It was probably more than that, because there's leftover, like, extra from the battle, which, yeah, for reference, the battles here in the museum, there's some variance depending on the enemy set you get, but I'd say, like, average a few thousand per battle, maybe, so... yeah, it took a while to get here. But I just wanted you to see what happens when I hit this next level, which should happen on my way out of here. Unless I just don't encounter any battles, which happens. If that happens, I'll just run around a bit. I have to get a little bit used to playing this game at normal speed again. I've been using, oh, here we go. I've been using emulator speed up quite a bit so that the grinding would be less painful. And alternately, either, like, put on YouTube videos or something in the background, or just music. Earlier today, it was just music. I put something on my rifle, as you can see. I took that off the shotgun. One of the shotguns. Yeah. The next level after this, only, like, about 40... a little less than, like, 4,500 experience. You can gain levels like every other battle in the museum from here on. It's ridiculous. So I figured, I was thinking this time around, unlike the last time I did like the optional endgame stuff in this game, this time around I figured I'd get to this point and then just start doing the dungeon, because I mean, there are fights, I will gain experience, and if I'm not already max level, then that'll actually do me some good. But it wouldn't do much good if I didn't get up to this level first, because if I remember right, a lot of the battles in there give less experience than the museum even. Plus, you just need so much experience to level up that if you don't hit level 38 before going to that, the Chrysler building, yeah, that's right, I already showed it. Yeah, if you don't hit level 38 before going to the Chrysler building, it's just gonna take forever to actually gain a single level in there. But before I head there, I also want to make a stop by the police department, because there's something else I was grinding. Yes, I went back to Central Park and just, ran between 2 screens over and over again to keep spawning birds. So I stocked up on junk. Because I mentioned that before. Let's see. You need to give away 300 overtime. To start things off, I'll just get rid of what I already have on hand from the museum. And they play a sound for every individual one you give. So, in storage, I've got some more. So I'm just gonna have to swap out these medicines for the junk. Nope, nope, don't discard it. Always a struggle somehow with these menus. I had less trouble using this menu when I used to play this game, like, exclusively with the D-pad instead of the stick, but I don't know, I've just been playing with the stick this time. And they don't make it easy to alternate, because if you have, well, I mean, it's easy enough to alternate, but you have to, like, turn off the analog mode, I think. Yeah, you have to press a button to switch between, like, stick mode and control pad mode. Basically, like, it doesn't let you use both at the same time for whatever reason. Which isn't that big a deal, but I don't think I have that button mapped. So, yeah. Because I was mapping, other stuff. Like the speed up. Ah, okay. That's all the junk, so let's discard it. I appreciate that they speed it up when you have more junk to give away. I got quite a bit of junk parts now. I could probably whip up a whole gun from them. So what's your favorite, Aya? We get a choice here, and there's a bunch of options. I will just actually show you what each of these things are. The handgun I could choose is the DE50AE7, and those are some pretty high base stats. Like, the base stats are almost as high as the overpowered rifle I made has, just from all the, like, extra stats I pumped into it. So if I pumped those extra stats over into this weapon, it would be nuts. But I could get the shotgun, the M10B, which also good stats. All of these have good stats. It's got the burst fire, which is nice. That's what I have on the rifle currently. It does have a lot less slots for extra abilities compared to the handgun, but yeah, you know. Could also get the machine gun, which... Oh, actually... I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm not gonna stick with it, but I'll come back here in a bit. Haha, now this is a good gun! You can count on this one. The P90. Note the 200 bullet clip. I just want to show this off because I never used a machine gun at any point, and... You know what, I'm gonna use the speed up here for everyone's sake. It turns out that, like, some of the different weapons do have unique properties, even if there's not actually, like, a weapon add-on for it. Kinda like how the rocket launcher has splash damage, even if there is no, like, add-on for the burst fire. Wait, what? When? Oh! This water ended up here after triggering that cutscene, like, just prior to the point of no return. I never actually wandered all around the museum after doing that. That's interesting. Oh hey, I also forgot to show something. Like, there was a reason I loaded in at the museum, and I just completely... We're at the exact location I was at, and I forgot about it, so let me go up there while I'm at it. And try to run into some kind of battle. Maybe? No? Okay, well... thank you. I forgot. You can examine these monitors. I missed this on the first playthrough, so... Hey, wait a minute! Eve! Where is she? That room... Where is that? You can actually see a shot of Eve before you go get to her. She's on the 4th floor. And of course, if you go to the 4th floor, the door is all gooed up, so you have to find another way around. Now, this machine gun, I just wanted to show the unique property it has, is it does actually fire faster, which is kind of cool. I didn't equip it. Let me rectify that. Okay, let's try this again. Also does the all property, and the way I found out, so the way that this works, target all, it's not like a all enemies get hit at once kind of thing. It's a, she will shoot the entire rate of fire. This gun fires 10 times. She'll shoot it at one enemy, and then at another, and then at another. 10 bullets at one enemy, then 10 at another, etc. So this gun uses up a lot of bullets. It's kind of cool, but also very wasteful, and as you can see, the damage, despite how high the attack stat is, it's not great damage because it's firing 10 bullets. That's kind of what I talked about with that. It's kind of a cool idea, but yeah, not very efficient. So, moving on, if we choose the rifle, we get the mag, which has a critical up thing already added onto it. That's nice. Not too many slots for stuff, like with the, actually, the machine gun had a decent number of slots, but, yeah, the mag doesn't. There's also the grenade launcher, the HK-40. That's got a decent amount of slots. It's got nothing on it to begin with, but not a bad weapon. I love the rocket launcher. The name of it is the Law 80. And of course, it's a rocket launcher, so it's got incredibly high base stats, but no slots for anything, so you can't add any kind of additional effects to it. Now, if we leave it to Wayne, he'll give us something at random from a pool of things that we wouldn't get if we just ask him for a specific weapon. So we could get the SP-1C handgun, which also has some decent stats, but it's only got like one extra slot for any kind of effect, so that's not great. Could also get the USB-TU handgun, which has a bit more slots, and it also comes like with a counterattack pre-installed, so that's cool. There's also a machine gun you could get out of this, the PPSH-41, not the best stats compared to anything else he offers, and also like a lot less slots for things compared to the machine gun you get if you just ask for one, so that's not a great option. Lastly, the random rifle he gives is the AK-47, which has a little less range than the rifle we get if we ask him for a rifle, but a little bit more attack power. Plus it comes with critical hit up and counterattack pre-installed, and there's more slots for things, so that's what I'm going to be gunning for. So let's leave it to Wayne and see what I get. It is random. What do you got for me? It is the USP2. Okay, so I'm going to be trying that again. Oh, nice. I got it on the second try. I was figuring I could make an editing cut there, but I didn't need to. Real quick, though, if you don't have, like, save states, first of all, if you have save states, make a save state right before you ask him for a gun. Or, like, if you're going to go for one of the random ones, if you're going to go, like, for the AK, like me, make a save state before you do leave it to him, obviously. But, also, like, if you didn't have save states, make sure you make a hard save at the phone, and just, like, even if you just wanted to let him give you whatever and see what you get, definitely save, because there is the possibility that when you leave it up to him, he'll go, sorry, I kind of screwed up. And you end up with either a super junk or a duper junk. To my knowledge, you cannot combine them into a super duper junk, sadly. They don't do anything. They are literally just completely useless. It's... yeah. I'm not really sure why they put that in. It's funny, but man, it would suck to go to all the trouble of getting those 300 junks discarded, and then you just get effectively nothing. Don't mind me just grabbing all the medicine 3s I stored. Man, I had a bunch. Okay, sort inventory, and I'm actually gonna store the AK-47 for now, but I'll probably go ahead and pick it back up soon enough. Oh yes, if you're wondering how I got the shotgun thing, the burst fire onto the rifle, the IA rifle, because I was trying not to, like, destroy any equipment, and I stuck by that, but this time I actually, like, thoroughly explored the sewers, and there were a couple neat things in there, like an extra medicine 4, for instance, and a super tool, which I did not realize there was one of those in the sewers. But yeah, so you can get at least one super tool if you look around enough without going to the Chrysler building, and the super tool let me take the burst fire off the shotgun without destroying it. So I moved the burst fire over with the super tool, and then I used a regular tool to move the stat bonuses over. I had a couple other things I was going to mention. There's something I actually forgot to talk about at the end of the last video, actually, part of the 6th day. But I'll save that for a bit. The thing about the Chrysler building here, it's very long, it's very monotonous, this is gonna get boring, and I figure I'm probably gonna leave some timestamps here for points of interest. The things I have to say about how this place works and a couple other things I wanted to talk about briefly, I'll probably save those for the 60th floor, because that's where, well, it'd be a little more interesting to watch the 60th to 70th floor than, the other floors, I think. So, if you're gonna watch, any set of floors, it would be that one. You could also skip around to see bosses and stuff. But if you want to watch me do the whole thing, oh boy, buckle in. It's gonna be a while. I actually decided to edit this video down and cut out most of it. So, just to give you an idea of what you're looking at, the gist is that this is a randomly generated dungeon. I'll explain it in more detail later. Otherwise, I'm just going to be showing you a handful of clips of, each of the sets of floors. You'll see all the bosses. I honestly don't really think you're missing much. Once we get to the 60th floor, where there's a new music track, I made sure the commentary was more interesting, so I didn't cut that stuff out. But yeah, I mean, if you really want the full uncut version, there's a link in the video description, but I think it's gonna end up being 8.5 hours, so you're really not missing much. I would honestly probably just watch this. At the moment, I kind of basically don't even have to try, because the enemies on this floor aren't particularly strong or anything. This is a set of floors I probably could have done earlier without doing so much grinding and everything, since I had decent equipment. But the danger level quickly ramps up in here. Actually, there are the dinosaurs, so it's probably good I at least saved it until the end of the game. I didn't have to grind up to level... Ah, dang it. You know what? You have made me mad. I didn't have to grind up to level 38 to reasonably do this, not at all, but yeah, like I said, if I didn't do that, I wasn't gonna gain levels anytime soon, so... You gonna... Aya, you gonna attack the other dinosaur? No? Okay. Oh, maybe once. That might be good enough. I think that will be good enough, actually. Yep, that's what I was hoping for. Okay. Yeah, wow, the amount of experience on this floor is actually really paltry. Which is weird, because, there's dinosaurs. I wonder if these dinosaurs just have lower stats than the ones in the museum. I never really considered that or, checked. Oh, it does, actually. Yeah, if it's going down in one bullet, it has lower stats. Okay. So I was kind of mistaken on that front then. Even though there are dinosaurs here, it's not quite the dinosaurs in the museum, so... I don't really know, then, what is the earliest reasonable time to do this set of floors? I don't really have an answer for that. I have no idea. But it seems like it would have been reasonable to do this a lot earlier in the game, certainly. Oh, this room has a dinosaur. Open the door, get on the floor, everybody shoot the dinosaur. And our first boss is a color-swapped version of the spider. Which is why I do say that, like, you definitely wouldn't do this too early in the game. I mean, look at how much HP that thing had, too. Didn't give me a lot of experience. Chrysler Key 1. So that was the first boss down. That was pretty easy. You know what? Yeah, okay. This is probably a timestamp type of thing. I just got this, I've been through the first, like, 10 floors of the Chrysler building. I got this, this rare trading card. So you might remember, this option here, rare trading card collection. I don't really have one yet. So, we want to get all the rare trading cards from the Chrysler building and just give them to Wayne, because I'll get something good for it eventually. But, in the meantime, let's see, I need weapons that can have a slot removed. Maeda's gun is one of them. What about storage? M203... 04. M2034, yeah, okay. Was it that one? I don't know, let's see. Tune-up weapon. Wayne, take this rare trading card. Mamma mia, this one's a one-of-a-kind trading card. You're a babe, Aya. What equipment do you want to tune up? Okay, M204, add a slot. There we go. Get rid of that block there. Oh, hey. I noticed it wasn't, like, grayed out. Can I actually? Here you go. Nothing to it. For a trading card that rare, I'll give you one more tune-up. Oh, no, it is grayed out. Okay. But this one isn't. Can I expand that? Oh. Yeah, okay. Guns must have different limits of how much they can be expanded to, I guess, but yeah, cool. Here you go, nothing to it. Alright. So, that takes care of that rare trading card. I'll have to give him a couple guns to tune up every time I want to give him one of those rare trading cards, but I want to make sure I give him all 14 of the ones from the Chrysler building. The reward is definitely worth it. Now, item-wise, I don't really have anything I want to store, because I actually need that Chrysler key. So, yeah, I guess I'm just gonna go back now. What song do we have this time? Oh, mystery notes? Eh. I liked Missing Perspective better. Yeah, this is not really going to be the most fun to listen to for 10 whole floors. Oh well. Ah, we still got the bats. No! You gonna fire your thing? Well, whatever. I hate you. And I didn't get both of them. Oh yeah, I think status effects don't last as long as you start leveling up. I forgot about that, but I think that's kind of like one of the stats is just recovering from ailments more quickly. Yeah, status recover. That is literally one of the stats. I just never really paid attention to that. Well, that would be an advantage to doing the extra level grinding before doing these floors then. The darkness wouldn't last very long. It's got the... Oh no, that's random rate of fire, not the all fire. That's actually not great, because I think you either do fire or may fire some extra bullets, but also you target random enemies with your shots. You don't get to pick. It kind of sucks. There's so much goop in the Chrysler building. What could it mean? I mean, we already beat Eve, so... but something's gotta be at the top of this place. Damn, a monster! Yep, sometimes they are mimics. And they kinda hurt. Even if you immediately start moving away, they're gonna hit you. Man, that thing sucked. Well, it dropped a revive, though. Alright, here we go, boss number 2. Which one was this? Oh, it's the Gator Twins. Okay. Oh, you, like, can't even hurt me. You did 9 damage, that's adorable. I wonder if Liberate would be good to use here, or if it's honestly faster to just shoot him. I am not sure. Oh hey, got a level up, nice. Yeah, so far these bosses are too easy. Oh, I actually need to drag out the AK and see if that can be tuned up. I forgot to check that. Okay. Sure, the grenade launcher. Excellent. The AK-47 now just fires one singular bullet. It is one step closer to being usable. I mean, it's kind of already usable, but it just... I can only get one turn with it right now, so... Oh, but, well, I don't have any tools yet, so... Tune up weapon. Here you go, the B-Hawk trading card. Ah, I can tune up the AK. Very good. So that's probably the case with the other weapons he makes from junk, then, is like, even if they don't have a ton of slots, you could give them more slots. By just handing him some rare trading cards and stuff. Yeah, I was just able to add 2 more slots to the AK-47. Very cool. Oh, this is the music on this set of floors? Gloom and Doom? Or Doom and Gloom, whichever way that was. Well, this is still better than the last set of floors. It's not the most exciting track, but it's still better than Mystery Notes. Zero. Nice. Well, we're getting medicine 3s now, so I'm sure these enemies are getting a bit stronger, even if it's not in any way apparent. I wonder how these spiders are in comparison to the ones at, like, the warehouse. I'm gonna guess they're not that strong. I don't think my armor is so... I was gonna say I don't think my armor is so busted that I would take 0 damage from those spiders, but... these things are dropping 30 bullets, just like the spiders at the warehouse. Maybe I just upgraded my armor that much. I don't know. I didn't test it, so... I could make a quick side trip back to the warehouse after this set of floors, just to see. Oh, that thing just took 188 damage and lived. You know what? Maybe these are like the warehouse spiders. Man, I didn't realize I upgraded my armor that much. I just want to pick a fight with some spiders and see. See if my armor really is that strong. Perfect. Looks like it, because the rat just did 0. You wanna bite me? I'm real tasty. Okay, yeah. I'm now pretty sure that the spiders on those floors were the warehouse spiders. So that gives you a pretty good idea then of how prepared you have to be for the third set of floors. If the enemies there are basically just the warehouse enemies. That's funny. Contact damage must be fixed because we're at a point where the contact damage from the spiders is doing more than actually getting bit by them. I'm kinda spacing, and I went like, did I actually get the treasure room on that floor? I think I did, but somehow it's all blurring together. The boss is probably up here. Unless this is a dead end. No, it's not. It is the boss. And it's... Yep, that's what I thought. It's a version of the centipede. And I think I recall this thing inflicts some status effects that the original one didn't. Like, I think if I get hit by its bite, that does something. Man, it's going crazy with that electricity. Oh no, that bite didn't do anything. Maybe I was thinking of one of these. I think either one of these or all of these inflicts like a status ailment. Let's try and take one of them out. Okay, that doesn't. It could be that the tail inflicts it, or I'm just completely remembering wrong. Maybe I'll let myself get hit, just to see. It's not doing much damage anyway. Or any damage. Yep, the tail inflicts blind. Okay. So yeah, I'm well prepared for this, and this is no issue, but I recall this boss actually being a little bit scary the first time I got to it. Which is why after that, part of why after that I did some grinding. So I found out that I did actually miss that one treasure room. I'll have to be more careful about that. I don't want to have to do this, like, again after this, but, yeah, I think I figured out which floor it was on that I missed the treasure room, so I'm just gonna go back there before advancing to the 31st floor. Treasure room I missed should be, I think, on the 27th floor. Still gonna have to find it. What do we got? Ooh. So I'm actually probably gonna go back to the precinct now. I'll move that over with the super tool. I'll move that over with a super tool. And now I will move the stat bonuses over. Okay, so let's see. We're going from 157 attack and 160 range. $157 to 269, and what was it, like 150 somewhat range? Now it's 193 range. Oh, that's ridiculous. I love it. Wayne, I require this. I'm not gonna go fight everything with a club. Give me the AK. Oh, this is gonna be great. Let me just equip it. It's also got counterattack, so that's fun. Alright, let's go decimate the next set of floors. Alright, so what do we got for music this time? Matrix, okay. Actually, not the one I was expecting. I thought that might have been higher up. This is a good one, though. Can you imagine if the Chrysler Building was actually built like this? Just like... Not every single floor, I guess, of this is a maze, but like most of them are. Just imagine that in New York City. There's just like a 70-plus floor building of mostly winding mazes. Imagine having to be the poor janitors that have to clean that place up. Everyone needs an auto bullet. It's the same enemies in the same hallway. That's the Chrysler Building in a nutshell. What do we got this time? This one is... Oh, okay, the Triceratops. A more powerful version of that. I'm doing a lot more damage to it this time, even though it's a stronger version. It's already down to the second phase. Now here's something that actually managed to do 70 damage to me through my armor. That's frightening. Not really frightening for me, like, now, but just, like, frightening in terms of, man, this thing would really hit like a truck if I didn't have such good armor. But yeah, that was pretty easy. Let's head back to the precinct. Now, I haven't actually done this before, I think. Let's look at the rare trading card collection. Or I think I did it once, when I hadn't given him any yet, but now that I've given him some, let's see. Let me show you my pride and joy! Well, they're all the ones that you brought me. P-38, B-Hawk, Kazul, PPKS, M1, MK5, MP44, BAR, MG42. I see a lot of good guns in my work, but great guns are hard to come by. So, figured I could at least collect trading cards. Can't afford real guns anyway. If you ever find any, bring them over here, will you? Okay, so I haven't got enough yet. Now my guess for this next set of floors, my guess for the music, I'm guessing Under the Progress. No, it's Omissions of the World. That's a really good one though. We didn't even get to hear this one for very long, I don't think, so getting to hear it for this dungeon is actually kind of cool. Ooh, that's kind of a unique attack for birds. Wow. They need 2 bullets from this rifle. Yeah, I really like this music. You know what, I'm just gonna keep track of what floor I'm on. So I don't have to keep wondering about it. Well, that's the stairs, but I need to find the treasure room first. You know, as much as I like this music track, I am starting to realize... I'm starting to realize that it is one of the slightly more repetitive ones. Maybe it's not actually going to be the best thing for, like... Hello, recolored scorpion. You're slightly concerning. Nope, still goes down in just 2 bullets. Not a big deal, I guess. Yeah, maybe this isn't going to be the best of the music tracks to listen to for, like, 10 floors of this dungeon. Still better than 1 or 2 of the other tracks, I would say, but not the best one we've had. Matrix was really good. Missing Perspective is also a really good one. The next 2 will be good, too. This one's not bad. I do like it better than, like, I do like it better than Gloom and Doom, or Doom and Gloom, whichever it was. And I like it better than Mystery Notes. I just don't like it as much as... I'm realizing I don't think I like it quite as much as Matrix and Missing Perspective. I like that intro. I like this, like, introduction part that, that Omissions of the World has. It just is a little bit repetitive after that, but it's got a nice energy to it, though. And it's another raptor friend. He's not really a friend, but we can pretend. I didn't do a very good job of pretending, considering I immediately shot him. That's probably not something you want to do to your friends. Okay, what do we got? This boss is... It is! It's one of the new ones, this unique thing. It's a friggin' cockroach. It's a mutated cockroach. And it's got a certain kind of gimmick. That ain't waste it's laying. That's an egg. And I just hatched into another little roach. I need to heal. Yeah, I'll go with that. Oh, I am hurting. I'm gonna, like, actually have to try a little bit with this. Okay, well, there goes that one. Now, the thing about this is, this little baby one's gonna keep growing up. And if I let it, it'll lay another baby. This fight can go on forever if you don't handle it correctly. So I'm gonna liberate on this one. I don't know if I don't think it'll lay a baby until the first one's dead, though, so, like, that's something to keep in mind for how different ways you could handle this fight, but yeah. So that was one of the 2 unique, like, bosses outside of the final boss. Now let's take a look at the rare trading card collection. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Thanks to you, my collection's getting pretty big. Here, I'll give you my toolkit in return. You can tune up your equipment as often as you want. No more need for regular tools. So, effectively, let's see here. If I just, yeah, 999 tools. I no longer have to worry about that. Let me... Oh. I missed some dialogue there. How about putting a name on that? Something real cool. Okay, I missed... I don't know what else he said. Sorry about that. I didn't even realize he did that. I guess just because of the number of times I've tuned up the armor, or like how high I've raised the stats, something. I don't know. That's kind of neat. Well, I guess it's the return of the Brea armor. Mamma mia, now that's a good gun! He probably said something similar about the armor. Say, how about carving a name on that sidearm? The return of the Aya rifle. Here we go, floor 51. Yeah, here we go. It's sort of weird to hear this in, like, not the police station, but it's a cool song, so I'll take it. Oh, I wonder if it overrides the battle theme like it did in the police station, or not. Ooh, it does. It does work. Oh, hello, giant rat. That thing is huge! It's the biggest rat we've seen. It's crazy. Oh, that's a squirrel. We've never seen one before. Oh. Oh, that sound they make. That just makes me feel bad. So they've got like a machine gun spray attack from their tail, and ooh, dropped a medicine 4 though. Those are hard to come by. Yeah, that freaking tail spray inflicts confuse. That's gonna be fun to deal with. What? That monster ran away. Oh. I didn't know they could do that. You... Oh, I had to press the button. I wonder if they always drop medicine 4s or not. Probably not. That'd be a bit too much. I'm guessing that if I want to stop them from running away, I probably need to, like, try not to kill all the other enemies with the burst spray. Because I would guess that's kind of what prompts them to run away, is when they're just left all alone on the battlefield. You missed. Ooh, another medicine 4. Is it possible that they always drop medicine 4s? That would be ridiculous. Maybe they don't spawn super often. Sudden flashbacks of me just taking my sweet time wandering everywhere while Ben is waiting for me to rescue him. You inflicted confuse on me, how dare you. I wonder if I can get them both. Well, at least the attack doesn't do any damage to me. If I had not so great armor, that would probably be pretty rough. Okay, so they drop revives and medicine 4s pretty consistently. That's crazy. Yeah, I could see those squirrels being pretty tough to handle without good armor. Because they can just keep spraying you with those bullets that can hit you repeatedly, all while inflicting confuse on you to make it harder to dodge. The things with bullets just disappeared. It's too big. Was that a dead end that I doubled back from, or was that the stairs downwards? I don't know, because I doubled back immediately. I thought it was a dead end, but for some reason I started wondering. I thought I followed the wall properly, though, so that shouldn't have been the case. This place makes me doubt myself sometimes. Okay, yeah, wait a minute, I just ran in a full circle. What happened? Wait, is this is the stairs, isn't it? Oh, okay. I don't think I lost the wall. I think that's actually just a self-contained loop. They actually... That's devious. Okay, let me go this way instead then. It was like designed in such a way where if I just followed the wall from... If I picked the wrong wall to follow from the stairs... No, really, if I just... Yeah, like... I think if I followed either of the walls from the stairs, you just go in a loop. You actually have to stop following the wall and just take one of the side paths. So that can happen, that's interesting. Good to keep in mind, at least it happened in an area where it was like easy to tell because there was the landmark of the treasure room. If this goes up to the boss, I'm leaving. I mean, realistically, it probably either does go up to the boss or a dead end. Yep, I'm leaving. Goodbye. Oh, the music doesn't come back? Oh, there we go. Is that a glitch? Oh, this is a glitch. Huh. That's interesting. I wonder if the same sort of thing happens on every floor. It's just particularly egregious here because this music is supposed to be playing everywhere, not just in the battles. That's an interesting glitch I uncovered. Oops. I guess I mean, man, I could have just fought the boss, because I'm gonna have to... Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna have to go find, like, the elevator anyway. Like, I'm gonna have to go back to the elevator, and I can just find the treasure room while I'm at it. So, yeah, okay, I'll just go ahead and fight the boss then. I'll get the treasure room after. At least I discovered an interesting little glitch with the music. it kinda sucks just hearing the first few seconds of this theme over and over. Alright, let's see what the boss of this floor is. Oh, it's the crab! Okay. Ooh, it's fast. Ooh, it's fast. Oh. Oh. Oh, this is actually frightening. I should consider haste. I probably want to keep haste on at all times. Did I just go behind it without taking damage? There go your arms, buddy. Uh-oh. Haste is gone. I wonder if it's immune to slow. I've never even tried using it. It doesn't... I don't know. Yeah, I don't think that affected it. I'm gonna use haste again on this turn just to be safe. Does this thing even have eye lasers, or does it just spam Bubble Beam? I don't know, but I'm gonna keep hasting. Or I could just die, that's fine too. Cool. That boss was definitely a fair bit more dangerous than the previous ones. The big thing is just to make sure you always keep haste on you with that one. Okay, so this is it. This is the last 10 floors of this dungeon proper. And a new piece of music we've never heard before. I love this track, and it's a shame that it's one that a lot of players have probably never heard. Because this dungeon is a slog, and a lot of people don't bother with it. All the way through, anyway. Oh hey, I found a treasure room really quickly. I'll explain that pretty soon here, for people who, like, skipped ahead. Sometimes these treasure rooms have enemies in them. Oh, a squirrel! That's the first time I've seen one in here. Okay, these guys like to run away when they're the only enemy on the field and they get hurt. But they drop some good healing items, so I'm gonna use Energy Shot to finish it off. So it doesn't just run. I feel really bad, though, with the sound they make. Definitely the cutest enemy. It's worth making sure you finish them off, though, because they consistently drop either Medicine 4s or Revives. And yes, sometimes these boxes are mimics. They just have a stupid monster in them. Drops either ammunition, nothing, or sometimes a Revive. Ooh, rare trading card. Those are important. I'll get to all that. But first of all, I was hoping to run into a battle on the floor proper, not just like the treasure room. As you can see, oh boy, it's the wolves. Please die. Oh, this floor is going to be a bit perilous. I guess it's only appropriate. Okay. So as you can see, this music overrides the battle theme for this whole floor. I think that's really cool. I love it. Really just in general, I love when games do stuff like that. when games have like a battle theme that plays in every battle, but then a certain area or a certain moment in the story just overrides the battle theme with the music of the scene or of the area. I love that stuff. But this place is one giant maze, so I am following maze rules. I pick a wall, I stick to it. This wall goes down there, that's a dead end, so then I would end up on this other wall, and I follow this wall. Stick to a wall so you don't get lost. That's the best thing you can do. This place is one giant maze, and no guide or FAQ is going to help you because it's randomly generated. Mostly. That extra revive gives me some extra breathing room, that's good. The reason I knew that was a dead end immediately is because there's a very small number of hallways and rooms, and they always look identical. It's like, this hallway, like, okay, this hallway that ends in a dead end northwards. See what I mean? It will always have this camera angle, it will always have this goo here and here. It's remarkably similar to the camera angle for the stairs, but the stairs up will not have the goo down here. You won't see any goo until you move up if the stairs are there. If you see goo right away, it's a dead end. You spend long enough in the Chrysler Building, you start to recognize these things, these camera angles and other things like that that tell you where a dead end is, so you don't have to even waste your time walking down it, you can just double back immediately. But yeah, it's a very small selection of the same types of hallways and things that always look identical, but the way they are structured together is random. There are some seemingly programming rules to that randomness, because I have observed that the higher up in the Chrysler Building you get, the more convoluted the floors begin to become. So they definitely structured things in a way that however they like did the programming on this, it's not just like pure random. There's like some logic to it, and the logic dictates that the floors become more complicated the higher up you go. But, you know, a couple rules you can always expect it to follow is that certain hallways always look a certain way, dead ends always look a certain way, treasure rooms and elevators are always gonna be found by moving to the left or right from another screen, because they're always on that fixed hallway that, you know, an elevator and or a treasure room is always on one of those types of hallways that has an exit to the left and an exit to the right and nowhere else. And stairs down, always at the south, stairs up, as here, always to the north. So you're always going to find a screen that has the stairs, you're always going to get to it by going north. That's the general rules of this maze. Every 10 floors, there is a boss. And, oh yeah, the elevators, you can't actually use it while you're exploring, because you need a card key. I have the Chrysler Key 6 from the previous boss, but that's only good for the elevators on the 60th floor and below. Once you get to the 61st floor, that key will not work. So I can't use the elevator until I beat the boss of the 70th floor. Once I have the key, though, I can use that to go back down to the first floor and leave, you know, prep, save, all that good stuff. And I could also take the elevator back to any individual floor if, say, maybe I missed a treasure room on one of the floors by accident, because there is a treasure room on every floor, and you want to find them all if you can, because there's some really good stuff in there. Good equipment, good items, and importantly, too, rare trading cards. They're different from the normal trading cards that you can give to Wayne. The normal ones just let you tune up a piece of weapon, let you tune up a weapon or a piece of armor once. The rare trading cards let you do it twice per card, and more importantly, if you find enough of them, Wayne gives you an infinite supply of tools to use to mess around with your weapons. And what What I haven't mentioned up to this point, but is probably easy enough to guess, is that if I find all of the rare trading cards, he'll give me an infinite supply of super tools, meaning I can just freely move around parameters and effects from weapons and armor without destroying any of the pieces of armor or weapons. So I can really just infinitely play around with the equipment at that point. It's great. So that's why you don't want to miss a treasure room if you can help it, because you really don't want to end up missing one of those rare trading cards and then you just can't, like, do the best things possible with your weapons and armor. Because as you can see, the enemies get pretty tough here. The enemies on the previous floor were technically pretty tough. Like, they were significantly harder hitting than enemies in, say, the warehouse area. And yet they were doing like 0 damage to me because my armor is so freaking busted. Yet the boss of that floor was still hitting me for like somewhere in the like 140, 150 damage range. Even despite how good the armor is. And you've noticed the enemies here are actually doing damage too, so like, yeah, you need good armor. And a good weapon. Final boss of this place is pretty tough too, so yeah, the best to prepare yourself as best you can. I think that's... okay, so that's the stairs up, but I could be forgetting, because I do blank on this sometimes, but I don't think I found the treasure room on this floor. So I'm gonna double back for now, and try to find that. Now that's all I think I needed to say about this dungeon. But I had some other conversation topics prepared, things that I, like, wanted to mention or forgot to mention before. The first thing I noted was the fact that I actually forgot to mention this in the previous episode, Day 6. I had talked about how I was going to say what Maeda's, like, last charm he gives you was 4, but I never... actually, I just kind of got caught up in the moment of the story and I never actually said it. His charm is a placeholder. It's a programming trick to make sure that you don't run out of inventory space so that when the cutscene happens, where you are given Maeda's special bullets from Daniel, those bullets just overwrite the inventory slot that Maeda's charm was in. Ooh, that's cyanide. That has a chance of instantly killing any enemy. But of course, I'm not going to switch to that grenade launcher because it is quite a bit weaker than the rifle I am currently using. And I don't think I have a tool right now, right? No, I don't. That's fine. But yeah, so that's what the final charm Maeda gives you is for, and that's why they don't let you take it out of your inventory, because it's meant to fill an inventory slot up until the moment when you're supposed to get the special bullets to make sure that you had space in your inventory for said bullets. It just overwrites the charm. It's easy enough to imagine that they might have intended something similar with the other charms originally, but like... they just didn't end up doing anything with that, so they left the charms in the game, but then they just kind of let you take them out of your inventory. Who knows, though? Another thing I was going to mention was the way that I realized the barrier ability works. Because I hadn't really noticed it until I was actually rewatching a bit of my fight with Eve. And it was through that I actually noticed, finally, the way that barrier works. The way that it works is that once you cast it, you know, it's best used when your gauge is full, because it takes a little bit of your gauge just to cast it, obviously, and then the way it works is that for the time being, your gauge stops automatically refilling like it normally would, and it'll stay that way until barrier, like, goes away, basically. And what makes barrier go away isn't getting hit. You can potentially take more than one hit. It's just that when you get hit, instead of taking the points out of your health, it takes points... that is a bear. instead of taking points out of your health, it takes points out of your Parasite energy gauge. And if getting hit, getting that number taken out of your gauge basically, like, empties it down, then if that just bottoms your energy out, then barrier goes away. But if you still have a chunk of energy left after sustaining that hit, the barrier actually stays up. That's why I still had the barrier up after getting hit once by Eve. You can theoretically sustain any number of hits that your Parasite energy gauge can sustain. And once it finally empties, that's when the barrier goes away and your gauge starts auto-refilling again. Speaking of the auto-refill, there's the whole mechanic where when you're in the same battle for too long, when your gauge has been refilling itself a little too much, it starts slowing down how much it refills at a time. I've seen this has been referred to, I don't know if this was like an official term. That is a good armor. That might be the final armor right there. Let's see. Another rare trading card. Nice. Stat up, and... Ooh, the ultimate club, I think. Cool. So yeah, I don't know if the mechanic where the refilling slows down for your gauge, I don't know if this was like an official term that's in the manual or if it's just a fan term, but I've seen it referred to as PE fatigue. Parasite energy fatigue. Now apparently, there is actually a way around this. I don't really regret that I didn't remember this, because I don't think it's even the first time I had read this, but I had completely forgotten about it. But I don't really regret not knowing for the playthrough, because it does not strike me as intended behavior. I'm pretty sure it's some kind of programming quirk resulting in an exploit. If mid-battle you waste a turn to just switch the piece of armor you're wearing, it gets rid of the fatigue. It resets the speed that your gauge refills at. So if you don't mind like using the exploit, then it's kind of like just always make sure you have an extra piece of armor on you, and anytime the gauge starts refilling like noticeably slowly to where it's like a bit of a problem, just switch your armor and it'll go back to normal. That's kind of silly, but yeah, it's a potentially good thing to know. I would rather not use it myself, because again, that kind of strikes me as an exploit rather than something intentionally put in the game, but eh. Another thing that I was going to mention that I was actually going to show it, but then I just kind of didn't feel like it, because I would have had to load the first disc again. There's actually a scene at Central Park that I missed. It turns out that, well, to begin with, I remember I wasn't sure if you could leave Central Park. And that's the funny thing, because, like, Aya does say, like, I won't leave until I find Ben. You can just leave anytime. It doesn't matter. So specifically, if you go back to the entrance of Central Park after the scene at the amphitheater where Eve turns all the audience members into goo, if you go back to the entrance at that point, Warner is there, and there is also a burnt corpse on the ground, and if you talk to Warner, he'll basically comment on how, like, this is crazy, that people are just, like, catching fire, and he'll tell you, I forget what the name of the poor guy was, but he'll tell you the name of the person who just, like, apparently just recklessly ran forward into the park without listening to Daniel's warning, and he burned. So that's what the corpse on the ground is. And yeah, at that point you can just leave and go back to the precinct if you want. So really, like, it seems like if you were patient and determined enough, if you really wanted to sit there and just grind it out, That or I don't think I found the treasure room on this floor, right? Let me go back and find that. If you really wanted to just sit there and grind it out that early in the game, just fighting bird after bird after bird, going back to the precinct, going back to the park, going back to the precinct, I think you could pick up the AK-47 or whatever other, like, ultimate weapon you want from collecting 300 junk. Right there, that early in the game, I think you could do it. That would be completely absurd, but I don't think there's anything stopping you from doing it. Because the Central Park is actually, like, one of the best places to farm junk in the first place. It's where I ended up going back to when I decided to get the junk just to have the ultimate weapon, one of the ultimate weapons to show off. Though, as it turns out, the first 10 floors of the Chrysler Building are also, like, a decent place to get junk, and it seems like these last 10 floors are also a good place. But the thing is, when you're going through the Chrysler Building, you're also picking up other items from treasure rooms that you want to hold on to. So, like, you can only hold so much junk, and it's not exactly convenient to leave the Chrysler Building until you, like, reach a boss, so for the most part, you really are just better off grinding it out at Central Park if you're gonna do that. If you're gonna go for the 300 junk weapons. Okay, some good stuff in there. Nothing, like, vital, but some good stuff. And I just gotta follow this wall back to the stairs. Another little story thing I wanted to comment on was about Captain Baker. Because I remember kind of mentioning, I was like, does he die? Like, it doesn't seem like he does, but then that dialogue between him and Daniel is almost written in the kind of way that you would expect for a scene with a dying man. And then we do just like never see him again after that. But I was paying more attention to some of the dialogue after that, and there is kind of the moment where it's mentioned that Daniel is in charge for now. So I think that pretty clearly implies that, you know, Baker is just recovering and he'll be back in charge later. And you would also think, too, like, if Baker had actually, like, died, they probably would have... I mean, they probably would have been more straightforward with something as important as that. Like, they wouldn't have just left a very vague implication. They probably would have made it very clear that that happened. And, like, some other character, like either Daniel or like Kathy, that was the counterattack going off. Like, someone probably would have commented on it if Baker had died. So I think it's pretty safe to assume that he lived. And that he's just recovering for now, and he'll be back in charge of the Force once he gets better. But it's interesting that I had that moment of wondering, and because there is an interesting thing with that story-wise, which I was reading about this randomly. Apparently there's a Parasite Eve manga adaptation, which I did not know. I've never seen it or read it. That's kind of curious about that. That's kind of cool. And like an adaptation of the game, not of the novel. And the manga adaptation of Parasite Eve apparently does some things a little differently story-wise. Like, for instance, Shiva actually shows up as a problem at the hospital instead of at the police station. And apparently the way it goes down in the manga, if I remember correctly what I read about that, was like, compared to what happened here in the game, where like Baker and Ben are basically backed into a corner together, I think like Baker actually gets Ben to run away, and then I think locks himself in the room with Shiva? Or something like that? Either is locked in the room or locks himself in there. Whatever way it was. It probably locks himself in there, though, because if he got locked in there, then, like, I don't know how Ben would have not also gotten locked in there. So yeah, he is basically a badass who gets Ben to run away and then just locks himself in the room with the beast so it can't go after Ben, I guess. And he dies. It's... explicitly, he dies in Daniel's arms, apparently. That's very sad. That's a really interesting difference between the stories, and makes me kind of curious about that adaptation in general. Might have some very interesting writing. That's all I really know about it, is just the fact that I read that about it, that one, like, major difference there. I don't know what else might be different. It's interesting to think about. I wonder if there's, like... I wonder if it ever got published in English, or if there's, like, a fan translation somewhere. Might be something to look up later, honestly. Yeah, I was definitely correct to save these discussion topics for this floor, because I wanted to be able to keep some decent commentary going for a bit, so that it would be, like, actually worth not just skipping this whole section. And I wanted this section to not just be, like, very skippable, because, you know, you don't get to hear this music anywhere else. But I am actually running out of steam on conversation topics that I had planned for this, and we're only, like, not even halfway through this section yet. But I do have one more thing I can go on about a little bit. I don't want to, like, talk too much about the sequels to this game and, like, give spoilers or anything, but I figured I might talk about it a little bit. That was one other thing I was thinking I could talk about just a bit. And since I was talking about, like, potentially streaming them too, if it happens that maybe you've never seen the sequels, this gives you some idea of where your expectations should be. The thing about Parasite Eve as a franchise, and not just as, like, this one standalone game, is that it doesn't really have a consistent identity. Because this game is, like, an interesting turn-based action RPG hybrid, kinda. Whereas the second game is more like a regular survival horror in the vein of, like, Resident Evil. Like, gameplay mechanic-wise, it takes a ton of inspiration from Resident Evil. Like, the kinds of camera angles it has, the way combat... Well, not entirely the way combat works. Like, it's got its own spin on it a little bit, but if you just see a bit of Parasite Eve 2, you can really feel the Resident Evil influence all over that game. Even somewhat in terms of plot, too. Not just game mechanics. But yeah, it's definitely got the Resident Evil thing going on, the tank controls, and, but it's still got, like, somewhat of its own twist on it. It's got a very good, like, lock-on kind of mechanic that makes it easier to shoot at what you're trying to hit, and it does still retain the RPG elements a little bit. There's no leveling up in the second game either. That's the other thing. Like with this one, you don't actually, like, gain experience and level up. You just have to get better armor to get more HP, and, like, a better gun to deal more damage. But the one thing you do get experience points. There's a limit in the second game to how much you can actually get, though, because it's not like this game with kind of semi-random encounters and, like, respawning encounters. The second game just has a fixed set of encounters that occur in specific locations at specific points in the story, and if you advance the story too much, you can even just miss some of them. And if you hunt everything down, there's just flat out a limited amount of enemies you can encounter, and thus a limit to how much you can level up. And as I said, though, you don't actually traditionally level up. The experience just does one thing. It's for the Parasite energy powers. Rather than, like, having the levels that you gain that increase your stats, and that you, like, learn certain abilities at certain levels, there are no levels, you just pump your experience exclusively into your Parasite powers, that's it. That's what the experience system is for. Well, this treasure room just sucks. And outside of that, Parasite Eve 2 is also very different, kind of in terms of where its story goes. It still plays on all the, like, mitochondria stuff, but it kind of also has, like, a kind of a conspiracy mystery thing going for it. It's a game that very much tries to be atmospheric as well. That's where I say, like, it's different. It's kind of different from this one tonally. Like, it's still very, like, they both go for the horror aspect, but they definitely approach it in different ways. And, like, this game likes to have really awesome music in a lot of places, like this, for instance, the music that's playing right now. By and large, the second game doesn't really have music like this anywhere. It primarily focuses on stuff that does a really good job setting the mood. Did I go by this elevator before? I hope I'm not just going backwards now. Sometimes I lose track of which wall I'm following. I hope I didn't do that. By and large, the music in Parasite Eve 2 is more atmospheric in nature. I wouldn't even really compare it to, like, mystery notes or doom and gloom. It's different in style and approach even from, like, that. Okay, yeah, I did go backwards. Oops. So it's not like, yeah, it's not even necessarily like in a repetitive way. I think some of the really atmospheric pieces are actually even, like, less repetitive than, for instance, mystery notes, oddly enough. It's just that there's not a lot going on with them. It's the kind of music that actually, I think, sometimes does a really good job establishing the mood it wants to establish. It's just that it's not the kind of thing you'd enjoy listening to outside of the game, you know what I mean? So it's not bad, it's just different. That's kind of what I would say about Parasite Eve 2. It's so different that it can rub people the wrong way, and it certainly did with me the first time I played it. I think I'm going to appreciate it more now for what it is. But I know, like, even just 4 years ago, I was listening to a video where I was co-commentating on the first Parasite Eve game with some people, and I was surprised how harsh some of my words were for Parasite Eve 2. I forgot that I actually felt that bitter towards the game. But having revisited even just, like, a little bit of it recently, I think I can say I'll probably be able to appreciate it for what it is a lot more now. It's just that I had kind of a rough time with it back when I first played it because I wasn't really good at the tank controls. I just couldn't adjust to them well. And I just kind of found the game a bit frustrating in probably a couple ways. And even, like, in terms of story stuff, I actually liked the story in the second game, even though it is different. I think I prefer the story in this first one, but I still liked the story in the second one. But they're really their own things, even down to the point of, like, you can't expect to see any returning characters other than Aya, which is kind of a shame. You know, no Baker, no Daniel, no Ben, no Maida, no one that you met in this first game other than the protagonist Aya. I think there was something else I was going to say about in terms of the tone. I don't know, just, yeah, it was a bit divisive for the fan base, and I remember that I did enjoy my first playthrough. I mean, enough so that I even, like, played it a second time to get a better ending. But even though I did get enjoyment from it, I also had like a lot of frustration with it, and I didn't like the control scheme, I didn't like the tank controls. There were aspects of it that I didn't like how different it was. So I just kind of had mixed feelings on it, and that's definitely kind of a thing for the fan base at large with that game. That's probably the best rifle if I didn't get like the one from 300 junk. Yeah, Parasite 2 is kind of split the fan base a bit. But I would say that it's definitely not a bad game, it's just... much like this game, it is unique in a way that can be kind of a problem for some people, actually, to be able to get into it. Like, it's unique enough that people who liked the first Parasite Eve don't necessarily like it, but at the same time, people who like traditional horror, survival horror like Resident Evil don't necessarily like it either because of some of the unique systems at play, like the Parasite energy powers, for instance, and the fact that on the base difficulty that you're going to experience on your first playthrough, ammo and stuff is plentiful. It's not really got that survival horror, oh man, you really gotta hoard items carefully thing going on unless you play through the game a second time on like one of the unlockable higher difficulties. So it's not a bad game, but it's very unique, and it rubs some people the wrong way in that way, especially big fans of the first game for like how different the second game is. It's just a little divisive in that way, but it's not a bad game. It has its fans, and like I said, I think I'm kind of looking forward to revisiting it because I think I'm gonna have a much better appreciation for it this time around. But that's the second game. Then there's the third one. There's a weird thing with the third one. I've heard that supposedly Square lost the rights to the Parasite Eve name by this point. I've heard allegations as to why, like maybe that the author who gave them the rights to make a game with the name and concepts for the first one. I've heard that the author quite liked this first game too. Like, they were impressed with how it managed to adapt the story into a video game format, from what I understand. But I've also heard I haven't been able to confirm this. Take this as the second-hand knowledge that it is. Take it with a grain of salt. It's very much an allegation, rather than something I've really confirmed. I've heard that supposedly the author was not really so happy with like the story direction the second game took things in, and that's why Square just didn't get to keep the rights to keep making games with the Parasite Eve name and like story concepts. Which is why whatever the reason is that they didn't have the rights, it is kind of clear that they didn't have the rights though, I think, because they named it differently. The third game in the series is not called Parasite Eve. It is called The Third Birthday. Doesn't even have Parasite Eve in there as a subtitle. It's just The Third Birthday. And once again, it's a game I have not played, so my knowledge is a little limited on it, but I do know some spoilers and stuff, and I've seen a little bit of the game played like once. Once again, it goes very different from the previous games. Like I said, as a series, Parasite Eve really does not have a consistent identity. First game's a unique action RPG. The second game is a tank control survival horror with some light RPG elements. Third game is, I think, a third-person over-the-shoulder action shooter with some light RPG elements. And that one is really divisive. Whereas, like, if the second game is one that kind of divided the fan base a bit, and it's like, it's got its people who like it, it's people who don't. The third game is one that there are people who liked it, but by and large, the consensus I've seen around consensus. the consensus I've seen around is mostly that the game is hated. There's like almost universally the third birthday is hated. And it seems like for the people who do like it to some degree, it seems to be like the most common that the people who did get some enjoyment from it had not played the first two Parasite Eve games, so that's also telling in a kind of way. Like, they were able to appreciate it for just its own unique thing, but as another entry in this series, it's, oh, it's something. Now, compared to Parasite Eve 2, I know that the third birthday does actually have at least one returning character. I've heard that Maeda is in it. I've also heard that they butchered his characterization and he's, like, kind of a creep. Like in this game, he's just kind of like a shy nerd who clearly has, like, a crush on Aya, but apparently, from what I understand in the third birthday, he's just like he's a major creep about it, so that kind of sucks. I hate that. I haven't seen that personally for myself, but I'll take their word for it until I see it. Unfortunately, I have gotten too caught up in talking Parasite Eve, and I've kind of forgotten if I found the treasure room on this floor, so I'm gonna go back and look for that. Just make sure. I don't want to have to backtrack here later. But yeah, Parasite Eve, the third it's not Parasite Eve, it's just the third birthday. In addition to dropping the name, they also dropped kind of the concept a little bit, because, like, it really tries to remove any tie it had to the novel of Parasite Eve, because they kind of largely, from what I understand, it sounds like they largely dropped all the like mitochondria stuff from the plot and just focused on doing something else. So yeah, the plot goes in a drastically different direction, that's all I'll say. I don't want to say too much. A little bit more I could kind of add to that. The first game and the second game definitely, they get a little bit fantastical with, like, Aya shooting fire and turning into a winged angelic creature and, you know, all that stuff. But by and large, it's tries to be explained away by, like, pseudoscience. It's mostly like a science fiction kind of thing is the angle they're going for mostly when it comes to the first two games. I'm not gonna say that's completely false for, like, the third game. Like, it's still doing the science fiction thing kind of, but it does feel like it's veering more towards fantasy than previously. That's the impression I get. Keep in mind, again, having not played it myself, I only know the ending. I don't know the full, like, story to get there, per se, so I mean, I guess you gotta take this with a bit of a grain of salt for now, if you aren't familiar with the third game yourself either. But I think it gets a bit more fantastical, quite a bit more, than these first two games. So it's, you know, once again, it's a very different kind of thing tonally, and, oh yeah, a big thing that people end up having a problem with is Aya's characterization in that game too, because she's like this really strong, cool character in these first two games. I mean, not like to a ridiculous degree, because like she does get scared and freaked out by these things that are happening, but still, like, overall, she handles it pretty well. I always thought of her as like a strong character, and she definitely doesn't come across that same way, like, at all in the third game. There is a thing going on where, like, it is explained, and it's even actually explained well. There is a satisfactory explanation for it by the end. Well, I will say especially by the end. Even just from the get-go, there is kind of a thing in the third game going on where Aya's got amnesia. And, you know, I've heard it said that that alone does kind of, like, make some sense because of that. Like, when you've got amnesia, it is, you know, the loss of memory and identity a bit. It could be sensible that you would act kind of differently, that you'd be more vulnerable. So there's that angle to it, but also, like, there is honestly a little more to it than even just that. I will say that while I, like, was initially kind of unhappy about what I saw about, like, Aya's characterization, I'll at least say that, I mean, whether you like having to start the game that way, like, see the conflict, like, you eventually see, like, the old Aya return, basically, in the end, but it's just, like, you might not like having to go through a lot of the game without that, necessarily. That's up to personal preference, if you can be okay with that journey, or with the explanation at all. All I'll say is that it is explained well, like, very well. I was satisfied with the explanation. That doesn't mean I necessarily think it was a good thing to do with the plot, because I kind of don't. But at least it explains it. And that's, yeah, just... The Third Birthday is a very contentious game. It's really, really contentious. I'm gonna go into it with an open mind. I'm gonna try to enjoy it. I'm basically going to go into it with pretty low expectations, but not like but I'm gonna try not to do it in such a way where I'm just like the whole way going like, this game sucks. I'm just gonna try and go into it with the bar set low, but with the expectation that I will be able to enjoy some parts of it for what it is, knowing that there's going to be parts I don't like, but I'll try to enjoy what parts I can of it, and, you know, not just hate the whole thing. See how much enjoyment I can get out of it that way. Like, I already know the parts I'm not going to like. I'll try to see how much I can enjoy the rest of it, because even if there's things I don't like about it, that doesn't mean I have to hate the whole thing. But we'll see how that goes when I get around to it. I definitely don't like the ending, but I won't comment on that at all. That's, you know, that's for when we get to that. I won't be doing that on YouTube because Square still blocks the ending to this day, as far as I know. So if I do that, I'm gonna have to do it on Twitch. Yeah. But, I'll see if I can enjoy the journey, even if I don't like the destination. The one last thing I will kind of say, though, that gives you maybe an impression of what to expect with the plot. I read something interesting about, basically, look at it this way. Okay, first, I'm going to comment a bit about, this may seem unrelated. I've only played a bit of Final Fantasy XIII. I know a lot of people don't like that game. I didn't get through the whole thing, so I can't really comment on it too much. I will say that what I saw of the game, though, I think I maybe made it up to, like, Chapter 6 or so. I know that where I stopped, for people who are familiar with the game, I know that where I stopped was the Sunless Waterscape. I had just reached there, and I stopped. And I never got back to the game, not because I, like, suddenly hated it, just life circumstances, and then it was never really a priority to get back to. I ended up just dealing with other things, or doing other things instead. I'd still like to go back and finish it eventually, just so I can have my own opinion of the game instead of copying everyone else's opinion on it. Because honestly, when I went into it at first, too, I was really disliking 13. Final Fantasy 13, but as I hit a certain point in the prologue where I was just, like, really not liking it at all, and I stopped, I put the game down, I came back to it a day or two later, starting from the beginning of the prologue, instead of just picking back up, and found that actually I was enjoying it a bit more. There's still things I didn't love about it, but I was getting more into it by coming into it with a little bit more of an open mind, which I wanted to do with that game. I wanted to give it a chance instead of just going into it with, like, the hatred that I know everyone has for it. Same concept as what I want to do with the Third Birthday. And at least when it came to Final Fantasy XIII, again, I didn't finish the game, I only got so far into it, and I don't think that's not even like halfway through the game, but at least what I saw of it, I didn't hate it. I even liked it, kind of, to a certain extent. I liked some of the characters, I liked some of what was going on with the story. I was taking the time to read the data logs, even though that's a bit of a clumsy way of handling the story. The takeaway for me was that I loved the music. I liked the presentation was pretty good. I was kind of interested in the setting and the characters and what all was going to happen. The battle system was interesting, a little bit frustrating on some of the bosses, but interesting system I could get behind, even if the bosses could maybe stand to be just like a little bit easier, if that's like, I mean, I'd have stuck with that difficulty probably anyway if there were other difficulty modes, but there was this like part in the back of my mind that's like, this is the only difficulty mode for this game? This is what everyone has to get through? I don't think I like that very much. But yeah, anyway, interesting combat system, stuff I was interested in, I liked it. I did have some issues with, I would say, rather than the plot itself that I was experiencing up to that point, rather than, like, I would say that I didn't have an issue with the concepts and characters that I was encountering. I took issue with some of the ways those were being executed. The data logs partially have something to do with that. They have a lot to do with it, in fact. There's also the whole, like, flashback thing. I dislike how they just, like, jumped straight into the action instead of establishing things first. Yeah, that's neither here nor there. The point is, like, I didn't hate the game. I just had some problems with the way they executed the story, even if I didn't hate the concepts or the characters. But, that aside, I know some spoilers for games after Final Fantasy XIII. I don't actually know too much about what happens in 13 itself, but I know some pretty big spoilers for 13-2 and for Lightning Returns. And there's certain kinds of story themes and stuff they were really tackling around that time with the 13 series. And there's also the whole thing about, like, data logs, how, like, so much of the story is told through that. Something I have to say about the third birthday is that I was trying to look at kind of like, was there something I wanted to use the super tool? Oh yes, I wanted to use the super tool to get the cyanide, actually. Oh, oops. Okay, yeah, give me that. And then... well, let me see. Yeah, I'll take that, actually. Okay. Something interesting that I read about the third birthday in terms of the staff that worked on it. One thing I have to say, what does that armor do? That looks like a bad thing, but I'm curious what that is. Oh, I can't do that, because okay. That might actually be a good thing. I think that might be that maybe not. I don't know. I'll find out later. Anyway, I was gonna say, an interesting thing I read about the staff that worked on the third birthday. It would appear that the third birthday... Now, I don't want to... See, I don't want to just, like... I don't want to, like, belittle the writer of the third birthday too much or anything, because... You know... Everyone has an off day, everyone tries new things, and sometimes, you know, you just don't stick the landing. It's not fair to judge someone's entire ability at their work based on just one of their works. One or two of their works. But, in fact, I kind of want to... Hold on. I kind of want to look this up now, because I forget who they were and what else they worked on, and I wonder if I can, like, find that out real quick while I'm trying to play through this. Oh, shoot. Okay, I think that was the one. These games tend to have more than one writer, but I think this was the specific one I was kind of focusing on. Let's see if I can find the article that, like, lists what he's worked on. Yeah, so the thing is, not to sell this dude's work too short, because again, everyone has, like, an off day, or, you know, everyone can, like, you know, maybe you try something and you just don't stick the landing. It happens. So, I do want to give this guy some credit, because he was, well, I don't actually know how good this game is, but I understand it's well appreciated. He was the story event planner in Bahamut Lagoon. He was one of the contributors to Final Fantasy VII as an event planner. I mean, that had, like, I don't think he was, like, the major player on that or anything, but he was a contributor to that. He was an event director, scenario writer, etc. for Final Fantasy X, as well as director for 10 too, but, you know. He was a scenario supervisor for Dissidia Final Fantasy. So, you know, he's contributed some good work and stuff. But I just think it's interesting that this same dude, not only did he write for Final Fantasy XIII and for the third birthday, but he wrote for, based on their release dates, I would say that he wrote for Final Fantasy XIII and the third birthday around the same time as each other. And knowing what I know about the plot of third birthday and how some of it is handled, all I'm going to say is that checks out. That makes sense, that it was written by the same guy around the same time as Final Fantasy XIII and, like, the 13 series. Oh, that casual 1,000 damage I just did was, I think that was the cyanide. But yeah, so third birthday is definitely one where that's definitely a game where you gotta know what you're getting into with it. You have to know it's just going to be extremely different from the previous two games, and it's honestly bound to do some things that are going to make you not happy if you loved the first game and even the second game the way they were. But, being forewarned with that knowledge, I personally will be going into third birthday just knowing that it's not what I want out of a sequel, but I'll try to just kind of keep somewhat of an open mind and try to enjoy it for what it is, even if I know there's things about it I'm not going to like too much. So that's kind of my take on the Parasite Eve sequels, even if, you know, without going too much into, like, direct spoiler territory or anything. And I guess that's about all I really had to say without, like, trying to look up anything else. I actually almost managed to keep interesting commentary going through the whole thing, because we're on right now we're on the 69th floor. Nice. So I just have to, like, go up one more floor and we're at the boss. I almost managed to commentate all the way up to the boss. So I'm getting a bit lost on this floor, so I'm actually not sure how long it's gonna take me to find my way off this floor. I don't think I've even found the treasure room here yet either, have I? Oh boy. Did I lose the wall I was following too? Because I think I might have. I'm a little worried that I did. Oh boy, let's, yeah, I kind of messed up on that, I think. Might be on this floor a while. Well, that's unfortunate. I was kind of hoping I could just, keep the commentary train going until I reach the boss since I'm so close, but I guess I could always just, like, cut some out here or something. One little, quick thing I can add that's not gonna carry me very far, but, there's one other little bit of Parasite Eve knowledge I can, like, mention, which is that, like, I've talked about the novel, the existence of that, and how different that is from, well, not how different that is, yeah, just, I've talked about the novel, and how, like, the Parasite Eve game is based from that. It's, in a way, it's essentially a sequel to that. Oh, actually, there's a couple things I can talk about, but yeah, that's one of them. Aside from the novel, there is a Parasite Eve movie, which I've never seen. From what I heard about it, the Parasite Eve movie is an adaptation of the novel, and I feel like I've heard someone refer to it as not good, but I've also seen it referred to as good, so I don't know who to believe on that one. Probably no one. Probably just not have an opinion on it, and, yeah, unless and until I see it for myself. But that's interesting that there is a movie adaptation. I wonder how hard that is to find, because if it's possible to watch that with, like, subtitles, that could be an interesting way to get the story without having to go read the entire, like, novel. Though there is an issue with that, in that I know the Parasite Eve as a game is kind of a sequel to the events of the novel, I believe, and the movie adaptation, from what I heard, changes the ending. I don't really remember how exactly. I don't remember if it's, like, a big deal, but I do know that the ending is different. So that is something that's worth keeping in mind. But yeah, there is a film adaptation, which is interesting. It's another thing to consider checking out at some point, I guess. One other thing I was thinking of that I could say real quick, as I get lost trying to find the stairs and the treasure room, which I thankfully just found, but now I still have to find the stairs. What do we got in here, though? Another decent armor. Not great, but decent. Oh, right, full inventory. Okay, let me just, okay. Ooh. I don't think I have any tools, right? No, unfortunately I don't. Well, there's a super tool. I'll take care of that right now. Gimme, 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 gimme. I can now take 3 turns. And +1 attack. Yeah, sure. Oh, +1 attack, +1 range. Cool. Very, very nice. Okay. Now I just have to look for the stairs. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, the one other thing I was gonna say. Kinda hype you up a little bit for the boss we're going to be coming up on after this. Like, I'm looking to get to the 70th floor. I need to find the stairs. And the 70th floor is just going to be another boss. It's whatever. And then I'm going to go back to the precinct. I'm going to prepare. And I'm going to come back. And going to fight the final boss. Or potentially I might just try and fight the final boss without even going back to the precinct, because honestly, I do have pretty good armor, a pretty good gun, and a bunch of healing items. I mean... Oh, this was the 70th floor. I miscounted somewhere. Huh. Okay, well, let's fight the boss then. It's another unique one. It is a bee! Queen bee! That hurts a lot from what I recall, so I'm gonna try to avoid that. Okay, didn't avoid that. I'm gonna try and take out the bee helpers. Okay. And shoot some more. Oh, I am poisoned. I should fix that. Detox. And keep shooting. Just keep on shooting. I'm probably not going to be able to dodge that. Nope. Okay. Let's pop a heal and keep shooting. I wonder how much damage that would do if I didn't have ridiculous armor. Here's a thought. Let's liberate. Let's see how much damage this does at this level. Whatever level I'm at now. 588 per hit. And I think this hits, what, like 7 times? So that's, what, like, somewhere around 4,000 damage, abouts? Well, it's not dead, so that's mildly concerning. Oh, it's summoning new helpers. That's a big one. Ow. Ooh, that hurt a lot this time. I don't know why it hurt so much this time. Gonna heal. And get rid of that helper, because I don't know what it does, and I was a little concerned about it. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Well, let's see. I'm level 87. I'm not max level. Honestly, though, I've got a lot of stuff going for me here. Should I just try it? Because if I have problems, I could always just go back to the precinct after my failed attempt. But, like, I'm here now. Oh, no, you know what? I do want to show, giving, like, the trading card to Wayne and, getting the super toolkit, so let's go ahead and try to find that elevator. I was saying something else in the video here, but I ended up cutting myself off, so, in the meantime, I'm gonna fill the air a little bit with some post-commentary here, because there's actually a couple things I forgot to say on those last 10 floors. This one thing I think I did say, actually, at a couple points in the Chrysler Building, but I also think I cut out every instance of the video where I ever said it. So, the thing about boss floors is that they are not random. They're the only floors that aren't. Every other floor, randomly generated, but the boss floors specifically are actually not random. They have a fixed design that never changes. You can actually pull up maps for them online if you want to just navigate those floors more easily. Just, you'd have to keep track of the floors as you're climbing so you know when you actually reach those boss floors. But yeah, you can actually just pull up a map for those specific floors. Still gotta, you know, navigate your way the rest of the way, but you can get a little bit of help. The other thing I forgot to mention, because I told things out of order based on the notes I had, and so I skipped over this one, and then I actually forgot to go back to it. I had a little story about the 30th floor of the Chrysler Building specifically, the one with the centipede boss. I think I mentioned at that boss, like, it was the first one that I remember giving me a little bit of trouble. And I think I made it through. I think I made it through on my first try, but I remember being worried about it. Like, I actually thought I might die, and then I knew I'd have to climb the whole 10 floors again. It's like, ah! But I made it through. Got to the elevator. Wrote it down. I'm in the lobby of the Chrysler building, ready to leave, and the power goes out in my house. I was so upset. I knew I was gonna have to climb those 10 floors all over again. That last, like, hour plus, however long. So I took a break after that. I didn't come right back to it, and whenever it was that I did decide to come back to the Chrysler building, I grinded like crazy in the museum first, because I was just like, I'm gonna make this easier for myself. I don't want to possibly die to any future bosses and have to redo all that climbing, and just want to make this easier for myself in general, and also hoped for the best with the power. At least if the power went out again, it wouldn't be so hard to climb the floors, because I was max level. But yeah, that's kind of how that went down originally. So, Wayne. Let's see. I want to see what piece, which armor I have is, like, the best one. This is actually not a very efficient way to check this. What is an efficient way to check this? Oh, let's see. Maybe this menu? Yeah, this menu will do. Okay. Okay, yeah, I think it's that armor. I think that has the highest base stats of anything, so that's the one I'm probably gonna go with. So, Wayne... Oh, sorry, I'll get back to what I was saying in a minute. First, I just want to deal with this. Give Wayne his one-of-a-kind rare trading card, and add a slot to the critical armor 2, which is gonna be my final armor, I think. Add another slot. And now for those who kind of missed it because like they skipped ahead or I just cut it from a video or whatever, the dialogue for when you give them a rare trading card. Mamma mia, this one's a one-of-a-kind trading card. You're a babe, are ya? What equipment do you want to tune up? Once again, please add a slot to this. Thank you. Just speeding that up. Here you go. Nothing to it. For a trading card that rare, I'll give you one more tune-up. Want another tweak? Okay, that's got all the slots I'm gonna get on it. And same for the rifle I'm using, so just put one here, I don't care. Now that should be, unless I missed something important, which could be, but let's see, rare trading card collection. Let me show you my pride and joy. Well, they're all the ones that you brought me. P38, B-Hawk, Kazul, PPKS, M1, MK5, MP44, Bar, MG42, M29, M73, Type 38, Type 3, Eagle. Not too many gun freaks with this many rare trading cards. Still would be nice to collect real guns, though. This here's my special toolkit. With this, you can tune up your equipment without losing any of it. There we go. Heck yes. That's what I wanted. That's all I needed. We can now make the ultimate gun and the ultimate weapon. That's redundant. The ultimate gun and the ultimate armor. I can move the base stats without destroying the gun, and etc. So let's just get to it, move everything over. When I already have everything I want off a gun, though, I might as well just do that, just so it's not sitting in the inventory. Use a regular tool to get rid of it. I already have the burst fire, so I don't need that. And I'll take the tranquilizer, use a super tool for that. And not that it does me much good, because I already cleared out the floor. So, like, I'm not going to be encountering normal enemies, and I doubt the boss is susceptible to the tranquilizer, but... you know. Huh, the Club 5 is missing some things from the Club 4. I'll keep them both, whatever, it's fine, it doesn't matter. Okay, the critical armor 2. Let's move this over from that. And let's move Automed. And the stat bonuses. Yeah, there's no reason to keep it, really. Okay. Now, next. What are you? PE burden decreases. That's a... Oh, yeah, that's actually a good thing. That means it costs less to use PE abilities. So I'll take that, thanks. That's a really good ability. And then from this armor, I'll take the poison resist. And the paralysis resist. Slowly turning this into the ribbon armor. And that decreases attack power. Don't want that. Okay, done with this armor. I already have that, so I'll just use a tool to move the parameters. And now to head into... Did I use... Yeah, okay. Now to head into storage. Okay, I already have HP max. I don't want that, but I do want this. Okay, resist confusion, yes. Move the stats over. Just move the stats over. Hold on, let me see what was on the other one. Okay, I have poison and paralysis. I don't have resist darkness, so let me move that over. Otherwise, I already have the poison and paralysis, so move the stats over. And lastly, sure, auto recovery. Auto use status restores. Ooh, now that's good armor. How about putting a name on that? Something real cool. I could call it the ribbon armor, but I'm just going to stick with what has been tradition for this playthrough at this point, where Ayabrea's equipment reads Ayabrea. You come back anytime now, Aya. Yep. Okay, let's equip that armor. Heck yes. And let's deal with storage. You hold on to the super toolkit for me, Wayne, and maybe take this full cure as well. Take the Chrysler Key 6, I just need the 7 one. Okay. Otherwise, I'm gonna take these full recovers with me. And that's a lot of medicine 4s. I have a lot of revives I could take as well. I'll focus on taking the revives because I know those always work. If for any reason the auto-med doesn't kick in, like I just take too much damage all at once or something, I don't know if it works that way, but just to be safe, lots of revives. I'll just have so many revives that I don't even have to try. It's perfect. It's the perfect plan. How many more revives are... Goodness, okay. Let's see. Whoa, hey. I figure then I'll swap some medicine 4s for revives, because why not? Oh, I needed to heal. Okay. Okay, there we go. I'm now holding every revive I have, as well as some medicine 4s, some full recovers, and yeah, I think I'm good. Good luck killing me that many times. Now, let's see. I've got some bonus points to distribute still, so let's do that. Oh my goodness, these stats are insane. Let's... Oh, wrong menu. Let's bump this up to 230 for the heck of it, and bump this up to like 310, rounded numbers and all that. 120 bullet. Okay. Now you, armor. Get that up to 300. Let's get these both up to 310. 140, critical resist. 320. Aya rifle. 320. 330. Hmm. $340. 335. And put a couple points into active time. Sure. This is going to be absurd. Okay. I am way more prepared than I need to be, I would say. Let's get to it. Now, the point I was trying to build up to, this is for a different ending. I would say that what this is supposed to be plot-wise, based on the dialogue, I would say that you can definitely read that this occurs after defeating the Ultimate Being, you know, blowing up the boat and everything, but this happens before the opera, because this ending kind of overrides that ending, just kind of erases that from canon. And, yeah, that's when this occurs. We have defeated the Ultimate Being. The opera scene didn't happen, though, because Aya went to investigate the Chrysler Building for one reason or another. It's not really explained, it doesn't really need to be, that's not the important thing. Something I have to say about this boss is that where I'd say the Ultimate Being was kind of everything that was built up to from the basis of the novel that this came from. It was the climax and culmination of that whole idea. And, you know, it took the big scary thing that everything was building up to in that novel, the Ultimate Being, which ended up just dying because of the whole rebellion within the cells thing from the different mitochondria. So it ended up not being able to be the threat it was supposed to be because it just died immediately after being born. So then here in this game, we got to answer the question, what if the Ultimate Being was able to survive and just grow and evolve? What would that be like? We got to have that kind of theoretical culmination of everything that the novel built up to. But it didn't really resolve a lot going on with Aya as a character, and a lot of the stuff that was discussed in terms of her and her sister's cells, Eve, the fact that Eve came from her sister's cells, you know, the transplant, blah blah. And we're also told an interesting little mysterious thing that didn't really go anywhere about how Clamp was at some point culturing liver cells from Aya's sister, from Maya. But, like, the data on why, like, what he was doing was lost. We don't know what he was trying to accomplish, what, you know, what the culturing the liver cells was for, what his goal or intention was with that. We don't know. So whereas the Ultimate Being was kind of the culmination of things from the perspective of, like, what the novel tried to build up to, this boss that we're going into now is the culmination of Aya's actual story of Aya and her relation to her sister Maya, and their connection to each other, their connection to Eve, all that stuff that never really kind of got, like, I would say it didn't kind of get resolved in the way it could have, in a way. And that all actually built up to this. As you can see, each floor we go up is increasingly goopy. One thing I want to point out, too, is that the opening movie for Parasite Eve had one little snippet that we didn't actually see happen anywhere in the game. And I'm actually going to just show that on screen real quick, because I always had this theory that that moment, I don't know if it was like a scrapped FMV because of disk space or whatever reason they might have not used it or not finalized it, but because that scene is not in the game, my theory is that it's very much supposed to be what's right up on this next floor. I feel like that scene kind of goes here. My eyes.
No, I really am here. What you're seeing isn't an illusion.
Maya?
You're Maya, aren't you? You're wrong again. I'm the original Eve.
Original? Eve? What do you mean?
The mitochondria of Melissa was transplanted from this young body. Hans Clamp gave my cornea to you, and after giving the kidney to Melissa, he continued to culture my liver cells in order to study the original me. As Melissa's body was giving birth to the ultimate being, I made my nest here, just in case Melissa or the ultimate being failed. At least the purebred would survive.
Then your bodies...
This body belongs to your sister. It's been cultured from the real thing.
No! That's not true!
Wanna chat with your sister?
What? Who are you? Maya, it's me.
How do you know my name? Where's Mom and Dad? Where's Aya?
Are you really Maya?
I was in the car with Mom and then my body got really hot. Where am I? I have to go home. I have to. Aya's waiting for me.
I'm here, Maya.
It's getting hot again.
Maya. Maya, answer me.
Sorry to break up the reunion.
Eve?
Did you have a nice time reminiscing?
Eve.
You challenging me, a purebred? Just remember, the body belongs to your sister.
That's dirty. So she takes the same form Aya takes when using liberation. They are sisters. I think I know what you're about to do. Yep. You don't want to fire bullets when she's doing this, because when she calls one of the Maya shadows, which apparently can inflict status ailments even with status resistances on my armor, if you shoot her when one of the Shadow Mayas is on screen, another Shadow Maya will come down and heal Eve. And every time that you allow this to happen in the battle, the amount healed will increase. So if you don't want to prolong this battle too much, you gotta prevent that from happening. You gotta just be a little careful and not just shoot willy-nilly. If she's just floating around like that, you can surmise that she's probably about to call a clone. You want to make sure she doesn't do that when you're shooting. I'm surprised how little damage I'm taking. This armor is absurd. Let's actually go ahead and use Liberate. I don't think I'm gonna need my Parasite energy to heal. It's Angel versus Angel. It's a shame that this fight is locked behind such a difficult, long, and tedious dungeon that a lot of people would probably skip, because this really is the culmination of everything that the story was building. And it's more of a proper resolution for Aya's character and her connection to Eve and, like, the whole plot. Ah, that's fine, I can take those hits. Oh, that one hurt a lot more. What you gonna do? Okay, you're gonna do that, so I'm gonna use a medicine and just skip my other turns. Oh, really? Wait, what did it do? Oh, it gave her energy to do this. That's what it did. Yeah, that attack sucks. She is staggered afterward, but that attack just pretty much KOs you. Or maybe it specifically drops you to 1 HP. I didn't know you could get hit by it twice. I think we're pretty far along in the fight if she's already using that, though. That's definitely a good time to use Liberate. Sometimes she's just floating. Sometimes she's not actually gonna call a shadow of Maya. Oh, that one got me. Okay, yeah, you can actually take enough damage to just get knocked out without the auto med kicking in. That's good to know. Oh, she's gonna do the thing again. This sucks. Oh hey, benefit to getting revived. My Parasite energy is refilling more quickly again. This is gonna suck. Owie. Well, time to shoot you. Time to shoot you a bunch. So that is a very important thing to know about the auto med. It will fail you if you just take enough damage to have your HP drop to 0. It didn't seem like it sometimes, but it is self-evident from what just happened. Hold off for a moment. Yeah, when she does the punches, they do increasing amounts of damage on each punch. The first one's not that strong, but the second one is pretty strong, and the third one also is. Ah, shoot, that counted. Well, you get to see the heal. $1,000. And just think, if it happens again, she gets healed for even more than that. I mean, 1,000's not that much when you see how much damage I'm clocking, but I think the next heal would be 2,000. So yeah, best not to let that happen. You really do gotta be prepared for this fight, but it's easy to come here with a crazy stock of revives because of how many they drop on the prior floors, so that's good. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Oh, she got me. That's gonna kill me. Unless I can pop a medicine 4 in time. Okay. And then the auto heal kicked in. I'm gonna take my chances here. Yep, that was fine. Now for pain. Ow. Yeah, that attack just reduces you to 1 HP, it seems. Okay, glad I didn't shoot there. Whew. And that's it. Really sucks that she had to defeat what was kind of like her sister's body there.
Maya. It's getting hot again. No, not again. I have awakened. What? What's this voice? It's coming from within my body. The time has finally arrived. No, you can't be. Eve? Until a while ago, Maya's body had the most evolutionary form of mitochondria. But now, your mitochondria has surpassed Maya's. I am now the highest form of mitochondria ever present. They're competing? That's what evolution is all about. Survival of the fittest, eh? Humans are the same. All knowledge and technology. You see, it's all about competition. In war, you use that knowledge and technology to determine who will survive. It's the same in the animal kingdom where they tear their prey apart. Stop it! Impossible. We have survived war. The time has come for us to be released. Stop! Don't interfere. What? Are there others too? Other than you and I? No! Maya? This place belongs to me and Aya. You're not going to interfere. I won't let you. No. The evolution of your nucleus is go home. I have to go. Is above. I need to go home. I had no. So it's waiting. Aya is waiting. She's waiting for me. My body. It's back to normal. Before Eve ever came along. Before I came to have all that power. Maya, I've been waiting. I've always been waiting for you to come home with Mom. And I've always been looking for the other me. But you've always been with me, haven't you? Always. All this time. Let's go home, Maya. Let's go back for good.
So that's the true ending of Parasite Eve. You have to fight and claw your way to get it, but it's definitely worth seeing, and it's kind of all the more reason that I interpret the original ending as a bad one, because it just kind of seems like it goes together in that way to me. The way Aya almost gets overtaken in the true ending, to me, seems a lot like how she suddenly stands up out of the blue in the opera while everyone's eyes are turning red. That boss fight and ending is a really good culmination of her character and her place in the story. I'm glad it's there, and it sucks that it's so hard to get to. The optional dungeon was a really cool idea that just could have stood to be a little shorter, but I appreciate its inclusion, at least a little bit, even if I just wish that this ending was a little more accessible to people, because it's really good. It's a really good ending. I love this this orchestral rendition of the main theme of the game, too. So that's been Parasite Eve. I don't really know how much more I could say about the game that I haven't said already. I did kind of comment on, like, the in-game graphics. Like, the movie scenes were pretty good. I did comment on the in-game graphics being a little, like, of their time, kind of a little bit primitive, but it was pointed out how, like, they were good for the time, and, like, I had to kind of take a step back and consider, like, I was comparing this to other later PS1 games. When I think about what was out at the time, like, I think the only other game Square had put out before this one might have been FF7? I might be wrong about that. I know, like, FF8 hadn't come out yet, though. And, like, I would definitely say that this game's in-game graphics are more impressive than FF7's, at least in terms of, like, the overworld stuff. If you compare, like, the battle the battle character models to the overworld models in this game, they're kind of somewhere on par, perhaps. But the overworld models in FF7 were a lot more, like, simple and almost kind of chibi in a way. Whereas they went for more, like, realistic proportions in this game, and I think they pulled it off pretty well with, like, the limitations of their technology and abilities at the time. Yeah, I love the presentation of this game, I love the story, I love the music. It's a really unique kind of game that I haven't seen anything quite like, I feel, and it's cool. I'm really glad that I experienced this, and it's always nice to... This is a nice one to revisit every now and then. And I'm glad to have actually finally done my own videos of it. It had always kind of been something I had in mind as something I wanted to do, even before, like, someone I knew was doing videos of it, too. I'm glad I got to do my own. It's a shame that things kind of got rocky with the series as it went on, because it had such a strong foundation. I hope one day, I don't know if, like, there's issues with the trademarks or what have you, but I hope one day we could see a return. It's anyone's guess if it would turn out good or bad if they were to do a remake, but I'd love to see the attempt. If nothing else, I'd even love to just see a modern re-release of some kind at least. Maybe there is one, I don't know. I haven't really checked into the whole, like, the streaming service of, like, PS1 games. There's a lot of nice artwork in this ending that wasn't actually present throughout the game. That's kind of cool. I haven't checked. I know there's, like, the digital streaming service, like the premium versions of, like, PS Plus that let you play, like, PS1 games and stuff. I haven't really looked into that, so I don't know what the catalog is. I don't know if this is available on that or not. And if it's not, it should be. I still wish it would be released in a more traditional format, though, either way. Like a Steam port, or even just a digital release on PS5 or whatever, of some kind. There's some way you can buy this game in a convenient way, because at the time I'm recording and uploading this, to my knowledge, the only way you can get your hands on this game is to pick up a physical copy, which I do have one, but it's not so convenient to play those. You either need, like, a PS1, a PS2, or backwards compatible PS3. Oh wait, no, all PS3 games can play PS1 discs, actually. But yeah, you need a PS1, PS2, or PS3 to play it on. So you can't play it on, like, the most modern consoles. And, yeah, PS3 is the most modern thing you can get this on. That or Vita, I think, actually, come to think of it, because you could get this digitally, I think. So I think you could get it on a Vita or a PS3, but that's as modern as you can really go, and it would be nice if... at least that's somewhat accessible, but that's still not accessible to a lot of people. I would love it if this was more accessible than that, like in the same way that the Final Fantasy games are very accessible. I wish that this game would be too, because it's really good, and in a way it's even kind of a sibling to Final Fantasy VII, considering, you know, the baseline concept of, like, being a police detective in New York City is an early scrapped concept for FF7. And this was one of, like, the series got a little more rocky after this, but this was actually one of Square's, like, high-selling games at the time. It outsold Xenogears, from what I saw when I checked. It's not the most well-known of their franchises, but it's hardly the most obscure either. I would love to see it be given the love it deserves, and, like, a proper modern release of some kind. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I've really enjoyed revisiting this. I'll probably, given the chance, I'll probably replay it again someday. I mean, I may even stream it again in, like, a couple or few months, depending on how I'm feeling, to try out that hard mode idea, but we'll see. The end. Now, I've seen the wiki say that this contradicts Parasite Eve 2, because Aya still has powers in that game, and in a way that does feel like a little bit of a walk back, like a backpedal on this ending. But it still fits better than the, like, main game ending, and, like, it's a little bit of a backpedal, but it still kind of fits. The manual for Parasite Eve 2 even says that Aya sealed away her powers a while ago, basically, and, like, so her powers have to be unlocked again, and that's the justification for why you start Parasite Eve 2 with just, like, one basic low-level ability, and you have to get experience points to unlock and level up the rest. For a second, I was wondering if it was actually going to go back to the title screen or anything. But yeah, so that's kind of how the ending ties in. The true ending of Parasite Eve, her powers go away, and it's kind of implied that that'll be for good. That feels like it's meant to be a final ending. They didn't really have sequels in mind. But it still kind of works for the sequel. They just kind of walked that back a little bit. They say, like, oh, her powers were sealed away a while ago, so they have to be unlocked again. I guess you can justify that because of what happened with Maya there. She's able to get her powers back without just being overtaken by Eve. I don't know. Or maybe that's like a struggle yet to be seen. But yeah, in any case, Like that she would assume she could get her powers back without having a problem with Eve, and as to what happens, I won't say too much, but anyway, that's been Parasite Eve. I won't be covering the sequels on my YouTube channel, but if I get the chance, I really want to try and cover them on Twitch or something, because I want to play. I need to do a practice playthrough of the second game anyway. I want to play the third game for myself anyway, so I figure why not stream them. If I think I have the time and I feel like it, I might even stream this game just so I stream a playthrough of this before I do the rest of the series, and like I can try out that hard mode idea I had. But yeah, that's it for now. Thanks for watching this. I'm real glad I've seen a couple people really enjoying it. That makes me happy. Thank you for the comments and everything, and I don't know what else I'll really have for my YouTube channel anytime soon, but, you can never predict the future, so, until whatever, whenever, take care of yourselves, and, maybe one day I will have something else to show you, I hope, but, yeah, take care of yourselves.